Welcome friends to another 40k video. Today we draw on Blood Games by Dan Abnett. How do the Custodes prepare for warfare when none is on terra? And how do they use what they have learned? Friends, let's find out. The Custodes we follow has been circling for 10 months and he has used 18 identities that fooled biometric verification. He also left blind trails to throw off the scent of anyone pursuing him. 10 months, a little long for a blood game, but then he was playing it carefully, synchronizing his movements with global patterns, following trade routes, inter-provincial traffic, and seasonal labour migrations. He neared and watched the palace. To him, the palace was vast, beautiful, the greatest mountain range on terra, refashioned into a residence and a capital, and now belatedly a fortress. The missing Himalayan peak had been levelled for building materials. The recognition of that feat made him smile. He disguised himself with rags and dirt and joined the labourers' Genestock ogres from Nea Mongol. He tried to fit in, but this ultimately failed, and so they tried to kill him. All three were titanic creatures, but they'd grossly underestimated him. He broke the arm of the first and removed the punch dagger he carried, and with its aid removed the rest as threats. To reach his goal, he had to get through the Annapurna gate. He was hidden under tarps to be hoisted over the gate. He took a dose of cash, which would knock him out for a short time and allow him to pass through the gate's biometric scanner. He then penetrated the outer levels of the palace. This took 3 days, and he did this by changing identities from a lamplighter to a doorkeeper and moved through it as one of those who should be there, even though he was one of them anyway. The Custodes were there guarding the precinct he had entered. He made a mental note of their deployment, and from that was able to work out where he could find his prey, who he knew, and it would be in the Hall of Leng, where it is said the past and the future mingle, and once there, he no longer wore a disguise. The punch dagger he had taken would be enough to finish this blood game. And he found his prey. Back to him. His prey was engrossed in reading a large, leather-bound codex. He would have one chance at this after 10 months, and halfway to his prey, a shadow came the other way, toward him, and intercepted his blade. The dagger was wrenched aside. He deflected the spatha that the person attacking him held, and backed away. The attack had better reach, and then it flicked the punch dagger from his hand. So, with his hands free, he locked them around his prey's sword arm and tried and failed to bring him down. He staggered the man with a punch, and now held the man's sword, and knocked the attacker out with it, using the flat of the blade. 2 more came to him, and he held them, and he knocked them down, and then the game was done. His only option from here was to escape. But 5 met him there, 5 Custodes. They said to yield, and he raised his sword and found himself in a cell. And after a day and a night, he was met by Constantine Valdor, who leads the Eligio Custodes, who says Amon had gotten closer than anyone else. That was only part of the hunter's name. The second was Tauromachian, which described the occupation of his bloodline. The Custodes acquired names in their long lives, but other names he had showed many things: the site of his organic birth, the place he was first tutored in weapons. They honoured his actions. Each was a life landmark. The Master of the Circle awarded them. The names were engraved inside a Custodes armour. Constantine Valdor, as example. His name is 932 parts long. Amon asks about the others that had taken part in his blood game, and learns they have all been caught and stopped. What they had learned from the blood games would be analysed so that the Custodes could improve their own security. Amon is told, as well, that war is coming. Horus. Later, there is somewhere Amon needs to go, and he is thrilled to be able to practice what he has learned in the blood games. He went in disguise to meet a man called Lord Fetem Sikar, a powerful colony feudal lord, and he was a direct descendant of one of the last tyrants to hold out against the Emperor of mankind. And through this man's communications, the Custodes could see his regular communication with heretics who were siding with the War Master. To investigate further, Amon played Elod Gate as senior negotiator. A displacer field hid his Custodes build, and probe worms secretly searched for information on Lord Sakaar. During the meeting, Lord Gate is told of a data breach. Lucifer Blacks who guard Gate go on high alert, and Amon senses him and his companions have been found out, though they might not know exactly who they are facing. Lucifer Blacks are an elite Imperial Guard, and Amon hears that the worms have found traces of the Lord's communications with the vengeful spirit Horus's ship. Amon summoned, through teleport, 2 heavy metal caskets. Inside was the Custodes' armour and spears. They pursued the Lord, and on finding him, Amon announced, "You are sanctioned by the Adeptus Custodes as an enemy of terror. Do not attempt to resist us." He's about to stop the man when Imperial Fists and Dawn teleport in. Amon tells Dawn this man is a traitor. Dawn reveals the Lord is their spy. He feeds information on the War Master to Dawn. Amon proposes that this moment be classed as a blood game, where the weakness revealed being that all those who seek to serve and protect the Emperor must work with unified purpose and shared information. And later Amon learns that the Lord is dead, victim of a bomb, that the man's Lucifer Black guard had murdered him. The Black worked for Horus. The Black was called Gen Cheth. Amon stops the Black from driving away. The Black fires. One shot misses, the next goes through Amon's armour. Amon punches down with his right fist. The blow crushed the Black metal helmet and pulped the head inside it. Amon was now clinging to the front of the out-of-control breaker and sees there is another bomb. This would take out the area's reactors and cause much damage. Amon tore off his trigger unit, adjusted its altitude and leapt away. The site-to-site transport vanished most of the speeding Raker before Amon had even hit the ice. The bomb exploded safely above, and then Amon, the wolf, plodded back towards the gates, limping and leaving spots of blood on the snow behind it. Its breath steamed, and in the cold evening air behind it, out in the blackness, more wolves were gathering and coming ever closer. I hope you enjoyed this tale, friends. Drop me a comment down below.